Good morning, Vernon. My name is Karen Davino. I am the superintendent of schools. I have with me, of course, Dr. McKay, the assistant superintendent of schools. And it's probably been a couple of weeks since we've put out a podcast to our community.
It has.
It's really important that we try to keep you informed. The first thing is I want to apologize because the memo that I sent on Monday, people have a lot of questions about like the reopening and what's happening next. And the first thing I want to say is I apologize if it was not clear. Hopefully this podcast will clear up some of that, some of the questions that you've had. And the other thing I wanted to say before we get started is that when we planned in July and August and we talked about this school year, I think we shared with everybody that this would be a school year like no other. I think we probably talked about things like uncharted territory, uncharted waters.
Right.
It has been a very, very difficult school year. We know that, we understand that, and we are working hard. Everybody is working hard to try to make this year salvageable. I don't even want to say great anymore, right? Because it's so difficult.
Exactly. When we presented in the summertime, we talked about some of the things that we were planning, and we put the phases in, and we talked about bringing the students back full time.
Right.
And when we released that this week, there was a sense of, whoa. We understand what everyone is feeling.
Absolutely.
We are aware of the pressure that everyone is feeling. And we want particularly our teachers to know how much we support them, because there has been some pushback against our folks, and we want to make sure that they know that they are completely supported. This has been a very, very rough time. And
you know what, I'm going to go a step further. I know this is going out to parents, and I hope parents can forgive me, but I'm going to speak to you as a fellow parent, right? You all know that I'm a mother. I have 2 children who go to school in this district. I know how frustrating it can be when our children struggle in submitting assignments or finding a Zoom link. I know that that can be challenging. However, I'd have to say that lately, I have seen by some people, certainly not everybody, but some people just have taken their anger out on our faculty. Remember that our faculty are professionals. They are all highly trained. They are the people who know how to deliver content.
Absolutely.
I know there are some of you in the community that are teachers, but you're not employed, by the teachers in the school district. We have supervisors who are responsible to oversee the rollout of the curriculum, as well as Dr. McKay and myself. So we ask that you could work with our faculty, and if you have questions about your child's learning, I know that the first instinct is to reach out to the teachers. I would recommend that you consider reaching out to the administrator, perhaps the vice principal or the principal. Our teachers are getting inundated with emails. Remember, in years past, a teacher might get 10 emails a year, right? Now, if you've got 100 kids on your roster, the teacher might be getting, 20 emails a day. And they can be very simple things, moms and dads, like, I can't figure out how to submit this on Schoology, or Schoology was down, can my child have an extra day? And although those are very innocuous little communications, they take up a lot of time. And I think that's where some of the frustration is leading. So we are asking for patience. I know that that's very, very difficult at this time. But this situation is not good. We're in a pandemic.
Exactly.
It's not going to improve anytime soon. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And those are the challenges that we face as a community. But that's my point, Vernon. We have to face this as a community.
Yes.
We have to try to face this as a Vernon family. And we have to try to face this in supporting each other, including our faculty, including our families, and including our children.
Right. It does us no good to destroy each other at this very tense time. And we knew this was coming. We knew once 6 weeks we were in. We always talk about that October 15th date.
Yes.
And here we are. The changes that we have put in place, the changes that our teachers have had to adapt in their own lives, in their careers, all that they've had to do has been very difficult. But the same goes for our parents as well. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
We know the changes, particularly for our virtual parents, have been very, very difficult.
Right.
We are doing the very best we can, but I'm here to say our teachers are doing the very best they can as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's important that everybody understands that we need to take a step back, realize that there's changes coming with this new schedule that Karen posted on Monday, and that this is the next stage, and we're doing the very best we can.
And
so
yes,
it's important about virtual
about
students. So let's talk about that, because there was some confusion a little bit about.
Right. So the new schedule, I mean, instead of our virtual Wednesdays, we're looking at synchronous Wednesdays. And there was a reason for that. Part of the reason in putting synchronous Wednesdays together is to give students more time to be completely collaborative, on the same page, in sync with the teacher, whether you are live or you are home, right? And the opportunity there means that you're a content expert. The teacher is giving the instruction at the same time, in the same tone, to students so that they're not missing anything. And we think that's really important. It also gives, the current schedule gives, I think, 15 days between now and I think Christmas and the wintertime of additional synchronous instruction to try to bring all students together more or less on the same page, right?
Absolutely. And the idea is from now until December 7th, when we go full, there are 15 synchronous days. And the idea simply is that we're getting into that stage where we're comfortable with the synchronous education. So we want our virtual parents to know in particular, but also all of our parents, that we're going with these days. Now, in K through 5, we have virtual teachers.
Yes.
We have assigned teachers to that virtual spot. They are working with the students, and the students are getting everything they possibly can from a teacher who only teaches virtual students.
Right.
Except for a couple of hybrids where they teach both. In 6 through 12, the teacher is responsible for the children on the roster, and those are the folks that we're most concerned about, and we want to make sure that you know that our teachers are working very hard to make sure that this happens, but that's where the synchronous change is going to be.
Right, absolutely. So, the other changes have to do with the schedule themselves. So November 16th, we're inviting blue and gold cohorts to come to school together on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. That Wednesday is still a synchronous day, but there have been some questions for families regarding virtual. If you're an exclusively virtual learner, you do not have to come back to school this entire school year.
For the rest of the year.
Right.
You can remain virtual. That's important for everybody.
Yeah, and that choice will not change. That choice will be here through the end of the school year, unless, of course, the governor changes something, which I can't imagine that he will.
No.
That also goes for parents who are driving their children to school. That offer at the beginning of the year, because children are on buses, masks required. You may not be comfortable with that. We completely understand. So in November, that November 16th, those are still half days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. The interesting thing is that the following week is Thanksgiving. I can't believe that we're almost there, but that's the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Blue and gold students are all in school for half days because it's only 3 days in that week. Then, of course, we have a holiday weekend, and I know that it's really a great time of year when people want to go out and be with their families. I'm just going to be really public about this and say, please be cautious, folks. I want you to enjoy time with your families, but remember that we all have the chance of exposure, and that risk of exposure is increased when we are in other communities and in large gatherings. I want you to enjoy your family, but we certainly want to keep Vernon safe and healthy, because that's super, super important for our kids.
As we always say, this is not a Vernon situation or a
Right.
state situation. This is a national discussion about people gathering at the holidays, Thanksgiving in particular, and then what it looks like the following week and weeks after.
Right, and then the week of November 30th through the 4th is the same thing. It's blue and gold together. And then finally, on the week of December 7th is when it's blue and gold together, and we're offering lunches a full day. And, we said we were going to offer full days. In August, we said it was going to be November. We've pushed it back to December 7th. Parents, I know, appreciate that because they have childcare needs, they have to go to work, but I know that it's making our faculty anxious.
Absolutely.
We have ordered many, many, many additional PPE, not just the screens for our students, but also screens and dividers for teachers, as well as additional air purifiers in the district. We're maintaining our level of cleaning with our pandemic response people and our custodians. They're cleaning in between classes every chance they get. We're keeping the temperature taking, which is really, really important. And
for those worrying about where this money is coming from, it's coming from a secondary grant from the federal government. So that is paying for that, as well as some additional cameras for the classroom, as well as microphones for our teachers.
Right.
So we are attempting to move into that full day stage.
Yeah.
We understand that for many it's not popular, but the idea simply is that we want to make sure we give the most education we possibly can. But we are well aware of COVID-19 and all that it's doing to different communities.
Yes.
We are watching it closely as it upticks, and we're well aware of the possibility of it hitting. So it's not like we're not paying attention to all of this. We just want our community to know, and particularly our teachers to know, that we care and we're doing the very best we can.
Right, and we are following the guidelines.
Absolutely.
And if you get a chance to watch the Board of Education meeting tonight, we do have a presentation by our COVID nurse and our head nurse to talk a little bit more about the Department of Health guidelines. I know there have been a lot of questions out there in the public, and we are following those guidelines. I know they can be very, very confusing. They're confusing to me. We call on our public nurses all the time, and they are helping us work through those processes. So that
and it all comes
helpful.
from the County Board of Health.
Yeah.
So anytime that we have a COVID case, you know that you get a letter from us, and
Right.
basically the letter is stating what the county health office has instructed us to do
Correct.
with the protocols. So.
Yep, yeah. So in the meantime, thank you, Vernon. I know it has not been an easy start to the year.
It has not been easy.
Yeah, in the summer, we knew it was going to be a challenge. It's now October. It will be a challenge the entire school year, most likely,
Yeah.
right? And that's where doing whatever we can to work collaboratively is important. If you want to send email to Dr. McKay and myself, and we get many emails each day from parents asking questions, we're responding to people to try to keep them informed. And we really ask that you support our faculty. They have never done this before. We're providing a lot of resources and professional development for them, but they're also teaching your children. So they're trying to learn a new skill while they're teaching your children amidst a pandemic. It's quite a lot at this time. We're going to do everything we can to support them. We hope that you do the same. Okay, folks, one last thing. On October 23rd, that's the date that you have up until if you want to make a switch. And that's only if you want to change from where you currently are,
That's
right?
exactly right. So if you're happy with the hybrid situation where you're going to bring blue and gold together and the students are going to be here 4 days a week, nothing has to switch. You're
Right.
still part of that model.
Right.
So don't fill out any form. And if you're virtual and your students are virtual and you're going to keep them virtual, you don't have to fill out any
Correct.
form. The Genesis form is for someone who wants to switch from where they are
Right.
into virtual, or where they are as virtual, switching into the
So for
school.
example, if you are a blue gold hybrid learner and you feel very anxious about having more students in the building, now is your opportunity by October 23rd to click that switch in Genesis Parent Portal
To go
and put your
virtual.
child on virtual, right?
Yep.
We have had a couple of questions from families who've indicated that they're not interested in the half days in November, but they are interested in the full days in December. I'm going to ask that you reach out to your building administrator, because I think there are very few folks that fall into that category, but we are receiving some of those emails. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will do our very best to keep you informed.
Good. And we want to make sure that you know that your children are safe with us. We're making sure all the cleaning and protocol is getting done. We have ordered the screens for when we go to the two groups being together, and we will try to make sure that they are taken care of in every way possible. But again, to our professional staff, thank you for all that you're doing.